Hello, Huma.
Hey,
My name is Carisha, and I'm with Issa Goddess Vibe. And I am starting a talk series. Excuse me. The talk series is a series of many interviews that I'm doing with different people. All of them are in hopes of helping others in their healing journey. So I've talked to people that's been on their health health journey, like as far as like losing weight. I talked to people who has been going through separation. So it's just a opportunity to share a platform to help promote healing in every area, not just one particular area, because it's a lot of healing that needs to happen, but across the board. So my goal with It's a Goddess Vibe is to provide a platform that allows us to promote healing in traditional and non-traditional ways. So,
absolutely.
a lot of times we can tend to stick with what we know and what was passed down to us. But now we're in a time of Google and internet where we can, we got resources at our hands to explore other options than what we were just taught. So I just wanted to I wanted to connect with you because I know that you have a business that you do a lot of handmade products. And I actually were drawn to you because of the fact that you use and talk about the herbs. And I always wanted to get into that. I just never like took the time or never really knew where to start with how to like educate myself on, the benefits of healing with herbs. So that was what drew me more to you and your business and what you do. And I've been following you for a while, and I actually I've gotten your products, but I got to get your shea butter so that I can really get into my facial routine, because I don't like mixing and matching with other people's products. So I want to get your whole facial line so that I can get started with me. So before I go into that some more, I just want you to introduce yourself in your business.
What'd you say? Can you repeat it?
I wanted you to introduce yourself in your business.
Okay. My name is Huma Farook. I am the CEO and creator of Nur Naturals. Nur Naturals is a holistic health and healing wellness company. The products I make range from body butters to detox baths to vaginal yoni steams to beard care products, eczema care products. I make about 60 products, more so. I don't know how many are I just add stuff to the website, so I don't know like what the actual count is. I always kind of look at my labels and then I'm like, wait, why are there 134 different labels?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always trying to update them and tweak them. And then I look at the website and it's like about 65 to 70 products. I'm like, well, somewhere in there,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long have you been running your business?
I've been running Nur Naturals. Originally started as a company called Soft Soap in 2014.
Okay.
It was a side business to teaching. My career and academics and schooling has always been in education. I was a high school teacher for 12 years, high school and administration for in that area, in that realm, for the last 12 years.
Okay.
I worked at charter schools, only charter schools, and charter schools teachers don't really make too much money. So I had to find a little, side business. So since 2014, I rebranded as Nur Naturals. After I had my daughter, I rebranded to name the company after her, in honor of her. Hopefully that in the long run, she wouldn't have to go out and ask somebody else for a job, essentially, So if she wants to take over, wonderful. She's learning the process. She's only 3, but she helps me with packages and, and sometimes putting in herbs, and we sit there because she wants to be involved. So why not, teach them early, is the best process. So since 2014, I've been running Nur Naturals, and I got my LLC about 2 years ago. So, trying to make everything legitimate, because once again, my background is in education. So I'm like, I'm learning, all of these steps as I'm like, okay, I can talk about, paideia learning and this and that and educational theory, but I'm like, hold on, taxes, we got to learn about taxes. And we have to learn about, these different things that are in this entrepreneurial kind of realm that I really wasn't aware about,
Right. And I think that that's very important to include your daughter in the business sense of it, because even if she doesn't take over your business, just having that business mindset at a very young age, and it does carry from, that age of 3 until adulthood. So, that is a really good thing. So you had mentioned about how you got started. So you said that you did it as a side hustle, but what started you with the actual healing herbs? Like, is that something that was always in your background? Like, what made you do that as your side hustle?
Yeah, absolutely. So what essentially started, and it's funny because you say me about my daughter, and I think my mother is a retired teacher as well. And my mother also ran a business out of the side of our house. She used to actually sell jasmine plants. And so, growing up, I'm watching her, I'm seeing her go to different stores, leave the plants, have these business conversations, and I'm tagging along at, 9 and 10. Sometimes I'll run in there, get the money, come back,
Right.
so I'm, tapping in and remembering these things from my youth that, essentially I'm like, wait, my mom did this too. My mom was also a teacher, my father is also a teacher. My husband is also a principal. So it's like the educational thing runs. But what started me or propelled me, I actually started making soap. I have always had a lot of hobbies.
Okay.
And I actually started making soaps around like 15, 16, just having fun. And so I would take like herbs from our garden. My parents have always had gardens. My grandparents have always had gardens and farms, and I've grown up around it. So I would take like little lilac leaves here, little rose petals here, and incorporate it into my soap, as just as a hobby at 16. And so as I got older, sometimes we try and fight turning into our parents. I'm like, no, I can't garden. I'm not doing this. And then finally you're like, you know what? I'm my mom. I'm my dad. You can't really get away from it. And so then, I'm like, okay, let me just get back into planting and gardening. And so, full cycle. After I had my daughter, I started to really kind of shy away from the Johnsons and Johnsons and the chemicals. Like, we use it occasionally on ourselves because it's easy or it's easily accessible. But, for our children, things are totally different. We do things totally different for our children because we want the best for them. And so I'm like, I'm not going to use these, chemical ridden, find out there's asbestos in something products.
Right.
I'm just going to make my own.
Right.
And so after I had her, I'm like, I can't use, the Johnson Johnson. I'm going to just make my own body butter, and I'm going to only use 4 products because you don't need much more, because Mother Nature and the earth provides for us what we really truly need. Right. And so if we need something that has a scent, we use lavender essential oils or sunflower oil. There's all these natural products that we can use. And so because of that, I got into studying herbs a little bit more and seeing what their benefits were. It was always in the background, but then I started to study even more after I had her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you mentioned teaching as your background, and then your business. Have you ever thought about incorporating teaching in your business?
I mean, it's natural, and it happens in, so I also own a Yoni steam spa. This is where I'm at right now, steam sheets. But that happens, in every consultation, every conversation that I have with women that come in. With every goddess that comes in, we have a consultation, and we talk about, and we go over, before we even sit down and steam, before we do the paperwork, I answer any questions, we discuss, we kind of go over, because sometimes people know, sometimes people forget, and sometimes people don't know at all. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that if that opportunity is there to teach, it's there. I've often sometimes thought about going back into the classroom and creating like a business curriculum course, because my background is history. So that econ, I've taught econ many times.
Okay.
Of creating maybe like a senior class to do or create business. I've thought about it. At the same time, trying to manage everything myself is very difficult. You don't want to slack, essentially, because there's children, there's a household, I have a company, and I'm getting, then I have parents and family and a husband and all those things. You don't want to get essentially overwhelmed and not give, you don't want something to slack.
Okay.
And so for me, an educational component would be great. Maybe an online educational component. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at PayPal invoice that just came in. I feel like I should, and it would be great, but I need help. You know what I mean? Before I start to expand even more, I need to make sure that products are getting out on time. Products are, getting created properly, packaged properly, because these are all trial and error. Okay. As I switched into new labels or new bottles, they're in glass bottles. So that means I had to change packaging, so it's those small tweaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as your products, and we talked about the herbs and the healing, what is your most, I guess, sought out the product when it comes to helping heal a woman? Like,
okay. So there's a couple. So I brought them, not brought them, I mean, they're here. So the body butter, okay. This is one of the best sellers. Okay. This is actually one of my first products as Nur Naturals, through trial and error, learning, using different amounts during different seasons, because during summertime, whipped body butter will melt. I've had a couple be like, I got sent to Arizona and it's liquid. What do I do? Pop it in the fridge. You got to re-whip it, and that's it. It's good to go. Actually, if it's liquid, it's a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. This is one. This is probably one of the best sellers. Okay. This yoni wash right here. Okay. This is I don't want to say coerced, but asked to, the original size was a 4-ounce bottle, but people were using it. Mm-hmm. Husbands are using it as body wash. They're taking it. So women are like, I need you to make a bigger bottle. And so I went from a 4-ounce to this 8-ounce. So this has become another bestseller. Mm-hmm. I'm looking to add a couple more scents. Someone asked me to do like a fruity scent. I added a mint. So this is like the original. Mm-hmm. And I have one with mint, and I was thinking of adding one with mint and roses, and then adding a fruity scent. Mm-hmm. Somebody asked for it. So, if people are asking for it, since I hand make all the products, it's actually pretty easy for me to customize, orders according to what people are interested in. So that's another bestseller, is a yoni wash, which is I'm going to read you the ingredients. It's black soap, tea tree oil, almond oil, aloe, and lavender. That's all that's in here. Okay. But this has really helped people with their pH levels, people who are like, I'm very sensitive. This has been really good for that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say about the yoni wash. I've tried one before, and it's definitely a big difference of using a yoni wash than regular soap off the shelf in the store, because it's definitely a big difference. So I would encourage anybody to use that over a store brand with whatever kind of chemicals that's in there.
Absolutely. It's like it's your special. I mean, we forget. I think a lot of times women forget, or we're not in tune, or whatever the situation is, we don't realize how important womb wellness is, and to take care of your yoni. That is the center, that is a center. It's a life force. And so we need to make sure that the same like soap that you're scrubbing your hands with is not this, or your elbows, is not the same soap that you should be washing a very delicate area, and we shouldn't be using chemicals. And we understand Don't use soap inside. We get it. You know, people are like, you're not supposed to use soap. We understand that. It's external. You know, we get it. Like, you know, nobody's pushing you to use it internally. People always like, you know, you shouldn't. We understand. You know, that becomes a conversation. And then this hair growth oil. This was another request from one of my friends. She's like, I need a hair growth oil. And so I started researching. I started doing my due diligence. I started reading up. And so I created an all natural hair growth oil. And the ingredients, once again, I'm very transparent, you know, about it. It's olive oil, coconut oil, fenugreek, henna, tea tree oil, peppermint oil, MS, and vitamin C. Okay. That's all that's in there. But you massage it in, and it gives you because from the peppermint oil, the castor oil, all of it creates a tingling. And so people have been buying this. I've noticed that people that have been buying it are buying like 3 and 4 bottles of it.
Wow.
So maybe I need to make a bigger bottle of this too. I'm like, I don't know, you know. There was one order I had to double check. I was like, wait, she just bought 4 of the glow oil and 4. I was just looking at it. I was like packing it. I'm like, wait a minute. And so I had to recheck. I was like, oh, this is 4, not 1. I'm like, okay, let me go back and repack this. I'm glad I checked, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the yoni steams have been the bestseller, and then the home kits.
Okay. So I wanted to talk more about the yoni steam. That's something that I've been wanting to try. I've heard very good benefits of doing that. Can you share light on some of the benefits of doing a yoni steam?
Sure, absolutely. So for me, the yoni steams came about because I was having really bad cramps. After I had my daughter, my cramps got out of control. And so I needed to find something that was a natural, you know, I'm over here popping Advil, like 5 or 6 Advil, and I don't want to do that. And so I started doing research into natural methods of healing cramps. For me, you know, my issue was the cramps. And as I started to read and do more research, I'm finding out that women across the world throughout time, since time, which is the reason why we're here, have been taking care of themselves by using and steaming with natural herbs. A lot of times we may not know that herbs have medicinal properties. Lavender, mugwort, you know, rosemary, all have antibacterial properties. Rose has toning properties, which is why we use it for our face a lot of times. It tones. And so I started using it myself to start off with. I noticed that it worked. As I used it once a month, twice a month, I didn't have cramps anymore. Okay. You know, I'm like, oh, that's all I have to do? I have to sit over some steam? Like, it seems really simple, you know, like, and really logical, but, you know, once again, some of these traditions have been taken, you know, have been stolen, have been tried to be erased, have been whitewashed, you know. And so this traditional yoni steaming is actually international. You know, women in Korea do it. It's traditionally a practice they do in Korea. Women in the Middle East, women in the Caribbean, in South America, in Africa, you know, and these are the things our moms or our grandmas, they, you know, it's like they don't have these conversations, they just do it. Right. You know, they're like, oh, just come sit down. It's like they don't tell you, be like, just come sit down on this pot. And you're like, what's on the pot? And they're like, just sit down. And you're like, you're supposed to, you know, to at least have that conversation so you know what you're doing. But a lot of times they don't, you know. They put babies in herbal baths. You know, they just stick the baby in there. They don't tell you what bay leaves and this leaves and that. They just do it. Right. And so these traditional practices, you know, a lot of traditional practices have been stolen. And, you know, in the age of now, where we have access to everything, I feel like we can create our own traditions. We don't have to feel like, well, I take that back. You can always feel like traditions have been stolen, because they have. But that should not stop you from creating your own and passing that down to your children. Right.
And I think now, in this age and time, I think people are becoming more aware and awakening more to their spiritual side,
Absolutely.
and not follow. And that's why I said I wanted to provide information that's traditional and not traditional, because
Right.
we tend to put ourselves in a box, and there's so much more that's out there. But then the more, like, even for me, the more I'm waking up to myself, the more I'm feeling more at home. It's like I'm coming back to myself. It's like I've been taken so far, and what's the saying? Unlearn to relearn, and that's where I'm at now. I'm unlearning everything that was always taught to me to
Right.
relearn what was already always in me and what was always for me. So I think now it's like it's a lot more women and men, waking up to the natural part of them, and
Yeah.
I think that's really a good thing. I also want to know if you can, like, I mean, I know, you're confidential with your clients, but if you could just share a few of your testimonies that clients have shared with you, that you're able to share with us.
Sure. There's two in particular, and these women have given me permission to share. So, once again, so I feel comfortable sharing.
Okay.
The first is a customer. She's been steaming for the last 2 years.
Okay.
Now, her story is that her mother passed away at a very young age from ovarian cancer.
Okay.
And so to her, having an abnormal pap smear causes and triggers that trauma of her mother passing.
Okay.
And so, she was having pap smears that were irregular. It was causing trauma and triggering her. And so she decided to start doing yoni steams. And so she does them regularly. I think she does it between once and twice a month. And she always texts me, a pap smear came back clear, and she she is just, for her, that it's helped clear up whatever was there. I don't know the specifics for her story, but I know that having a clear pap smear, for some of us, it's not really a big deal because we may not have any family, that has had ovarian cancer or who has passed from that. But for some people, it's a very different story. And so for her, she tells everybody, she always posts, she sends me customers, and so for me, she's like one of my mouthpiece. So I always, put extra stuff in there for her, and whenever she orders, and I appreciate it,
Right.
but in the long run, I know that, she's just really thankful because, it's something that she's not having, that fear, that fear is gone for her. So that's one. Just recently, I had a good friend, customer, client who had fibroids. And so, well, let me step back into the yoni steams. I make 5 different blends for some of the issues that women deal with. It's not a one steam for everything.
Okay.
And I use different herbs. So I have a general detox, which is good for young girls, 15, 16, all the way up. So if you're just having cramps, a general detox would be great. No major issues.
Right.
I have queens that have been coming in, and a lot that have been dealing with fibroids. So at my last location, between 80 to 85% of the women that have been coming in have been dealing with fibroids. And it's a large percentage. It's interesting. You're like, wait a minute, why does everybody have fibroids? So then that causes you to really kind of question, like, where and why are these fibroids forming? Where are they coming from? So then we get into this conversation, like, you need to stop eating dairy, you need to cut down on the meat, we need to exercise, we need to stop being so stressed out about things that are, unnecessary, or things we can't control. You can't stress out about it because all of those things feed fibroids.
Right.
I have a fertility blend to get you pregnant, if that's what you're looking to do, which includes red raspberry leaf. That's a traditional herb that women have always used to help strengthen your uterus to carry forth a child. People drink the red raspberry leaf. If you look at any type of pregnancy or fertility, anything, tincture, red raspberry leaf is part of it.
Okay.
I have a postpartum healing blend for after pregnancy. We know that after pregnancy, people act like they snap back in 6 weeks. People are forced to go back to work, and it doesn't make any damn sense at all. You're ripped away from your child. We're not gonna get into that. All type of like, oh, now we go back. Oh, my maternity leave. What maternity leave? This is for the rest of your damn life. Like, you can't just go back in 6 weeks. You know, children are traumatized, mothers are traumatized, the bond is not there. You know, it's all type of stuff that's like really frustrating, you know, to see. You know, I was very lucky that I was able to stay at home, and I'm still at home. I never went back. After I had her, I thought, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go back to work. Yeah, no, it wasn't worth it. I'm like, what is this? I'm away from my child. You know, you're trying to have somebody else watch them when that's not the case. You know, if you can, and if you can figure it out, stay home with your children. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of issues that children have is because they're being raised by strangers. Yeah. It's not a dig on moms, you know, that have to work. It's not a dig on moms, but I think a lot of issues is you being raised by a complete stranger who's also looking after 15 to 20 other children. Mm-hmm. And your child who is supposed to be receiving certain nurturing, you know, things, milestones, hitting different milestones at different ages, different leaps, mm-hmm. You don't even know about them. Right. You know, a lot of people like kind of looking at this pandemic where we've been at home. People don't know their damn kids. People acting like they can't spend 8 hours with their child. Like, you don't even like your own kid? That's a problem. They don't know them, and they're not enjoying spending time, which is scary and sad.
Actually, for me,
really disturbing.
The pandemic kind of opened my eyes up to what you just said, as far as like, okay, because for my sons, like my youngest is 11, and I get to work from home now during the pandemic. So for him, it was like a match in heaven, you know, like mom is home all day. Right. And I never realized how much he needed that, or how much they needed that, just to see me, even if they're not around me, because my teenagers, they're 16. So, yeah, mm-hmm. So it's like, even if they're not around me, just knowing, okay, my mama is here. You know, whenever they want to come and listen to this idea, you know, they come upstairs and talk. So I think it makes me think a lot differently now about my decisions and how I'm, you know, doing things. So I do agree. But that the yachting steams, I really am very interested in, and I'm glad you did mention the fibroids, because that was one of the things that I always I never experienced it personally, but just people around me that I know have experienced it. And, you know, the first thing that they want to do is, you know, remove our womanhood. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. And I know a lot of the women that tend to go that route, you know, they just want to get out of pain. You know, they're not really, you know, focus more so on what's happening to their body sense besides getting rid of the pain. So if I can, you know, if this video can help someone to keep from going through that surgery portion and just try something more natural first, see if that works. I mean, I think that would be so amazing, because a lot, I don't know, like I just feel it bothers me because I'm like, you know, the things that's taken away from us. My question is always like, are they being taken to be used to test for other things? You know, like, why are they quick to remove our body parts, you know, or something that really could be healed naturally? And if we get in the habit of, because our bodies are made to heal itself, you know, we just got to learn and take the time. And like you said, make those changes as far as exercising and changing how we eat and how we do things, how we release things, you know, because we tend to hold on a lot of things that we just do not have control over. So if we learn to like deal with things a little bit differently, our bodies will respond. And if we pay attention long enough, our bodies will let us know before it gets to that point. Okay, you need to make these changes. You need to, kind of start cutting back on this or cutting back on that. If we start really paying attention to ourselves and our body and listening to our body. So I'm glad that you do offer something like that. And I hope, in hopes of people listening to this, that they take really advantage of that, because I think it's very important, especially if you getting them doctor results that say, well, you need surgery. No, let's try something else first.
Right. They're pushing them, like the amount of conversations and I have had a conversation with and this is just through consultations. People inbox me, through the Nur Naturals direct message or whatever. Mm-hmm. A woman was 26 years old, and they're suggesting to her to have a hysterectomy. No kind of course of changing diet, exercise, none of that stuff. Mm-hmm. You should have a hysterectomy. She's like, I am 26 years old. Like, how at 26? Right. That's wild, And then you get into this whole, we can get into this whole like conversation of the medical field, and specifically how the medical community reacts or has a reaction to Black women dealing with womb wellness, pregnancy, all of the racist undertones that are there that are just pushed instead of trying to, and that getting to surgery, this surgery, it is a major operation. We already know that there is racism. We know that. We understand it. We see it. We experience it. We already know that. So if the medical community is already, not listening to women during childbirth, and Black women are dying even more, than white counterparts or Asian counterparts or Hispanic counterparts, what the hell? Like, you trying to push me into surgery now? You're trying to push this group of women into surgery more so than other, with the underlayer, of this history of medical racism, or however you want to term it. That's crazy. Yeah. This is a major surgery. You really have to question. And then once again, like you were saying, a lot of us have not had the chance to even get in tune, with our bodies. Our bodies will tell you, like, if you're exhausted, your body's going to shut down. Sit your ass down. If you are dehydrated, you're going to see it on your lips. You're going to see it in your body has a way of telling that. But a lot of us are not, unfortunately, in tune, or we just ignore it. We're like, oh, but your body was built, like you say, it was built to tell you these things, how to react, how to not react. These things are there purposefully, right? And so we have to kind of stay the course and focus on that, try and tap into ourselves as much as possible. We have to do our best to do that, because no one else is going to do it for you.
Nope. And not only tap into it, but be committed to it. Like, for me, I'm in a position of knowing, but not really doing all the time, so it's like, okay, I'm fighting what I know with, what I'm used to. So it's like, now just being committed to doing what it is that I am learning. One of the things that I learned during my spiritual journey was how much we hold in our womb, like as women. We tend to hold, if we had a traumatizing childbirth, or just a traumatizing childhood, or a bad relationship, we tend to store all these things in our wombs. And I think a lot of people are not aware of that. And that, I don't know the medical or how it affects, as far as like the fibroids, or the it was something else you mentioned, the cramps. I don't know if all of those things like kind of help harvest that type of pain. I don't know. Like, so does the for those type of things, is the yoni steam something that would be helpful to like healing the womb in itself? Like, even if you're not experiencing any fibroids, like, is it just recommended to do?
Yeah, I definitely just a general detox. Like there's always a few things that happen. Women text me like, I didn't have any cramps. This is crazy. This is crazy. I didn't have any cramps this month. Another thing is people will be so relaxed, they will fall asleep on the seat. I'll come in, they're like, wait a minute, what? It's been an hour? It's been 45 minutes? They will fall asleep because once again, I try to create a space, and you can see the space a little bit. You know, I have plants and the colors and the scents and the stones. I choose all these things on purpose. They fall asleep. And another thing is I always get a text once somebody gets to their car and they sit down and they've left here. There is a sense of release. Okay. They can't always explain it, but there is definitely a sense of release, you know, that women have after they've done a steam. You know, they may not be having these conversations with people. You know, a lot of times our traumas are our own traumas, and these are not, or we have not been conditioned or kind of taught to discuss them. You know, child abuse, child molestation. These are these secrets that a lot of us harbor. Right. You know, and even as grown adults, we don't realize how it creeps into daily life. Right. Especially if you haven't had the chance to heal, or you haven't had the chance to talk, or you haven't had the chance to have somebody believe you. Right. Even something as simple as that. Somebody to just listen. Right. To even say something to somebody. You know, I had a friend confide in me, you know, something that happened to her at 16, and she never told anybody. Okay. And I was, you know, humbled and honored that she chose to share that with me. But she never told anybody. She's an adult woman with children, married. She didn't even tell her husband, you know. And so these things come out too. Our traumas, that's part of the process as well.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Since you started your business, what was the most healing thing that's happened for you?
The most healing thing has been, I guess it's like the trial and error. You know, it's like this is my third Yoni Steam location. Okay. Healing to me is kind of like my own determination. This is the third spot. The first spot we tried out, you know, and once again, this is as a new business owner. And I guess you could say my resilience. I'm never going to let somebody else stand in my way. Okay. You know, I had a location in East Chicago. It worked out for a little bit. It did not work out because of the location. I had a location in Chicago. It was working out. Wasn't my ideal. You know, it wasn't my end all be all. It wasn't where I want to be. Mm-hmm. It was working out. Coronavirus hit. I don't have any clients. I have to shut down my business. Mm-hmm. Then people start talking about this 10K grant. I didn't get it. I'm like, I'm like seeing people that don't have businesses receive this money. I'm like, you know what I could do with that much money? I can, anyways, I'm going to keep pushing, you know. Right. I'm like, what the hell do you mean you got it? You don't even have a damn business. Yeah. But that's a whole different story. So healing in the sense of, you know, had this been another like 10 years ago, I probably would have just given up. Okay. Like, oh, it didn't work. Forget it, you know. So for me, the healing is realizing that the resilience that I have and that I can do it if I want to, you know. And it's kind of stepping out on the fear of success. I think a lot of us are scared of success because we're scared of it because what it entails and how much hard work goes into it. Mm-hmm. But what happens when we are successful? you know, and success can be on so many different levels. It could just mean that this is a partial income coming in. It could mean I'm trying to retire everybody in my family. I'm trying to be the first millionaire in the family. I'm trying to have, you know, so many employees, or a warehouse. You know, there's all different levels. But that I'm also stepping away from that fear of being successful. I'm gonna stop being scared of it and allow success to come to me, because I know I can do it. I know I have the wherewithal. I know that I have the charisma. I know I have the knowledge. I know I have all of these components to be successful. But I'm not gonna let myself stop myself.
Be in your own way.
You know, I think so many of us are scared of like being successful. People are scared of exercise because we're scared of being healthy. You know, I mean, it's like, it doesn't make any sense, but it's like deep down, all of us know what we need to do to be our best selves. Yep. And we, to a certain extent, we self-sabotage.
Yep.
We all do. We know that we can make time to get up and do some damn sit-ups, but we don't do it. While you sitting there watching TV, you can do some squats, but we don't do it. Yeah. And so that's also like part of this self-sabotage type of thing that I think a lot of us deal with.
Yep. You're speaking to me.
Yeah, I'm speaking to me too. I'm looking at pictures of myself. I'm like, I used to be a gym rat, you know, like the gym used to be my de-stressor. It used to be my happy place. If you didn't know where I was at the gym. You could find me at LA Fitness or whatever the heck it's called now. Mm-hmm. You know, and so these are the things that I want to start to, you know, incorporate back, you know, because I not only for myself, but to be a mirror to my daughter.
Right.
You know.
Right. Okay. I so enjoyed this, and I'm so thankful that you took time out. I just have one more question that I wanted to ask you. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to start and just don't know where to start? Like, what would you recommend as far as like if any of your products, whether it's the Yoni steam or like you say, your shea butter products, what in the holistic sense, what's a good area for them to start, to just get started?
That's interesting. My first piece of advice would be to study what your product is. You know, you can't just make a product and that's it. You know, there has to be some type of authenticity to it. Mm-hmm. Like you can't just, like I've seen people, you know, people that are like, oh, I'll just buy it from wherever and resell it. I feel like if your products don't have authenticity to them, people can feel that vibration. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to explain what an amethyst is and why amethyst is important. That it's a stone that's steeped in protection. You know, you have to be able to explain. You can't bullshit people. Right. You know, you can't, because people see through it. You know, you can't be on bullshit, and you have to be honest about things. You can't just be like, oh, no, it doesn't work that way. You know, people can see through you. People can read you, especially children. You know,
children.
They can read you up and down. Children can read. They won't tell you, I don't like her. Well, there's a reason why, because children are honest and they can read you. Yeah. I think so. Studying is one. The second thing is, after you studied, don't expect support from the people that are closest to you and people that you know. Unfortunately, those people love you still. Mm-hmm. They're still your family and friends, but they don't see you as an entrepreneur yet. They see you as, oh, that's my cousin. Mm-hmm. They see you as, oh, she's still a teacher. Mm-hmm. You know, once you have people don't see you as oftentimes as multi-dimensional. They only see you as one thing. Like your child sees you, and we do this for our parents as well. If you think, you're like, oh, that's my mom. Right. We never think about, or we often don't think about, hey, my mom was an entire whole person before she married and met my dad, before she met me. You know, she did things that she enjoyed. We don't see people as multidimensional. And so sometimes your biggest support is not going to come from people that you know. Right. And you can't expect that. And nor should you let that stop you. Mm-hmm. You know, so those two things: study, be authentic, don't expect support, and don't wait. Like if you have an idea brewing, sometimes I'll just start making something and I'll throw it on the website before it's a finished product. Okay. Because I know it's a good idea. Why? Because I'm proud of it. Right. You know, it's gonna work because I'm using quality products, because I know there's a need for it. You know, and so you know, hopefully the support will come at every idea, you know, and to run with it. You know, if it's your passion, then go behind it. If it's not something, if it's something you're just doing because you're like, it might not work out because that passion is not there, and people see through it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so give people the how they can connect with you, like how they can reach you if they want to get any of your products.
Sure. So of course I don't have a card with me, but it's right here. Nur Naturals. Here it is. Okay. Nur Naturals, NURNaturals.com is the website. If you want to email me, info@nurnaturals.com. On Facebook, we're nurnaturals.com. On Instagram, it's nurnaturals_. Nur_naturals on Instagram. Okay. And so those are like my major platforms is Facebook and Instagram, and then the website, of course. The website is always there. There's a lot of products. I would like to clean up the website, but it's a process because once again, I do everything from the website to packing, to labels, to shipping, to updating, to photographs. I do all of that. Okay. I don't have an assistant right now. I'm looking for somebody, but it's hard to find somebody, especially when you're dealing with products that I hand make. Right. So if I were to hire somebody, it would be somebody who would be just packing everything, you know, for me. They wouldn't be making the products because those are my products, because I know exactly, you know what I mean? Like I would not hand that over. That also becomes a conversation of, well, what if you get an order for like $10,000 worth of yoni steam? Well, I'm gonna make all the yoni steams and I'm gonna hire a whole bunch of people so we could pack it. I'm never gonna sell, you know, I don't want to say I never, right? But we get into these conversations of like, well, this is not this own. Well, I thought it was Carol's daughter, for example. You know, once you make it to a certain level, people sell their companies. You know, we don't know it. We don't see it. We still think that they're the face of it because they were the owners, but they've sold it to like L'Oreal or whatever. And so that question becomes, I'm like, I don't want to, I mean, at this point, I don't know, you know, but at this point, I don't want to do something like that because I want there to be aspects of something being handmade that can still be customized for you. You know, if I've gotten requests for beard balm in like lemon and rose and peppermint. Those are not my general scents that I make, but I'll make it because I can, you know, because I make all of them. And so I like doing custom orders because I like people to have what they like. You know, you should be able to do that. You know, hopefully in the long run, I will have a wellness center, you know, that has products that I can have a location. But for right now, especially now with the pandemic, it doesn't really make any sense. Right. The way that the world is kind of going, it doesn't make any sense to have a location because, you know, everything is online. And so if we could do it online, you know, we could do it that way too.
Okay. Well, thank you again so much for taking time out your schedule.
You're welcome.
Sit with me. And I wish much success to your business. And I definitely will be in contact with you because you named like a whole bunch of things. I'm sitting there like, yeah, I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that.
Yeah,
So
and you right down the street, so just come over and get a steam.
I will. I definitely am. And then get the rest of my facial products. So
Okay. I'm right down the street, so it's on me. Come over and get a steam whenever you have some time. I know we're busy. I know we're still working, and it's like you're at home, but you're still working.